This
Those
one,
are cute.
I'll just come back. To this.
Rachel will Photoshop sunglasses
I'll
on
stand
you.
right by her.
Hopefully they get a screenshot
Colleen,
of
sit
this.
there. Let me get a picture because you guys look really cute.
Yeah.
Look how
I'm
cute
here to
you
work.
are. Oops, that's
John,
me.
you know-
Can I hold the microphone?
John, move.
Can I hold
They
the
look really
microphone?
cute.
Can
No.
I grab
Here,
this?
John, get out, John. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
John, you're cute.
Yes,
Just get on
get
that.
the damn picture.
Okay, that's all right.
John, you're cute.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Pettid with the Metro Pros and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate. Welcome to our podcast, Let's Make an Offer. We'll be talking throughout these podcasts about different topics that people want to hear about. Hopefully we have some fun along the way, a few laughs here and there. We're going to talk about design stuff, we're going to talk about areas of Omaha, we're going to talk about investment properties, we're going to talk about how to help buyers, how to help sellers, things like that, and get into all the details and answer questions for you along the way. So today I've got Bree Beck with us and John Estabrook. John Estabrook is the owner of Option Mortgage here. And John, let's hear a little bit about your background and why Option Mortgage is important to clients.
Are we good to talk about investment property wise?
We are.
Okay, so option mortgage is just that. I have a whole bunch of different options as pertain to investment properties and different loan options that you could do to secure either your first rental property or over 10 rental properties. The big thing with rental properties is you can have up to 10 rental properties on a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac scale. Anything over 10, you got to go commercial or hard money or something like that. So,
Which commercial gets a little more expensive.
and the terms are not as favorable as a conforming loan.
So when we talk about investment properties, we'll dig into this with Bree as well. You have right now, about 190 different lenders that you can work with?
197.
197 different lenders.
Yep.
What's a typical lender have as far as options for selling that loan? Because what happens is a lender will write up a loan, process that loan, but it's being sold to another bank or another company.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically, like a loan officer will, maybe it's a big bank here, that's their only option.
That's their only option, or if they're another retail type lender, they might lend out to 4 different wholesale lenders.
And you've got 197 different options,
Right.
which is amazing. So we'll dig into that more, but we've got Bree Beck here with us. Bree's an agent on the Metro Pros real estate team. Bree's doing a fantastic job. She represents her clients, buyers and sellers. She represents Pinecrest Homes and new construction, and does investment properties herself as well, and helps her clients buy investment properties. So Bree, tell us a little bit about you and your background and what you like about real estate and helping people.
Okay, well, my background, I went to school for marketing. And before I became an agent myself, I was doing marketing for 50 realtors and lenders across the country.
Okay.
And that's really where I was like, I actually think I would be interested in being a realtor, which being a realtor is you're doing a ton of marketing all the time anyway.
Right.
So that's really like what got me into it. Also, my mother-in-law is on my team. Shout out to Sandy. But she was the one that I really talked to get me into this. But yeah, so I'm actually really realizing that I have a passion for investment properties. I have 2 myself now. And I've been an agent for almost 3 years, and during that time I've gotten 2 investment properties. So right now I'm working on one where I'm gonna have travel nurses stay in it. And we're just about to have it ready. It should be ready by next week. And it's just really cool to, I truly believe in the power of real estate and using my money to make money. So that is what I'm doing. And now I'm helping my clients buy investment properties themselves.
And that with the travel nurses, you are reducing the amount of turnover like an Airbnb would have. And they're generally good people. They're going to take care of your house and not trash it and not throw parties. Good. The people that
They're
are
going to be busy working,
Yeah.
and they are coming in from out of town, so they don't know a bunch of people. So it's a great benefit. Here's an interesting little fact. 90% of millionaires own real estate. 90% of millionaires own real estate. And when I say own real estate, that's not their own property they live in. That's an investment property or more. So when you're looking at the stock market and what's going on in other investments, you need to be diversified. And real estate's a great way to do that. You know, you put 25% down and buy a property, and the returns are fantastic, or can be fantastic if you do it right and have the right person counseling you and guiding you. And there's no other investment out there that allows you to purchase something with somebody else buying it for you. Because essentially your tenants are buying the property for you. So, you know, Bree, your one investment property, the first one you started with, you've had for what, a year and a half or so?
Yep.
As an investment property. How's that experience been for you? What did you do to screen your tenant to make sure you got a good tenant? Maybe the wrong question. Or what should you have done to screen your tenant? I mean,
Okay, so my first tenant, I mean, our first rental was our old house, and we were able to keep it and purchase a new house. And it felt like an open house weekend that I had, because the rental market is insane right now. I mean, even if you are out there trying to look for a rental property, I know it's super hard. But I basically had an open house one weekend, and I had a ton of people come through. But this guy, he was from Wisconsin, and he FaceTimed me, and he had references from when he rented apartments. He actually was dating a travel nurse, so he's like, I know how to be a good tenant. I'm really good. I looked him up on Forewarn too, which is an app that a lot of us realtors used. I didn't see anything on his record. He gave me two months of rent right away, and he's just been solid. He's been great, and you know, I don't know if I just lucked out or what, but he is just, I mean, a fantastic renter, and I'm very, very lucky to have him. He signed a 2-year lease with us. So
you know, I think the tenants and renters vary depending on what price point you're in.
Yeah.
You know, if you're out buying $75,000, $80,000 homes, which are very difficult to get, and going for, you know, Section 8 or low income stuff, you're going to probably run into more issues. On paper, it looks like you're going to cash flow more, but when it comes down to it, you're going to run into more issues, short-term and long-term potentially. So, you know, I've got investment properties too. John's done investments and as investment properties. Different mindsets, and there's a lot of different ways to do this. I mean, some people will tell you only buy, you know, $100,000 homes and rent them out, and that's the routine. Some will say don't ever buy one in a homeowners association. Some will say, you know, don't ever do an Airbnb. I mean, there are different ways to make money in real estate investing. Commercial. I mean, you can buy commercial properties and lease those out. We as a team do a retreat every year, and for a couple of years we've done a house out in Wahoo, on Lake Wanahoo. And you think, well, who the heck would build a house to use as an Airbnb in Wahoo, Nebraska?
it's gorgeous.
They had built this gorgeous home, it's like 5-bedroom
cabin.
You know, gorgeous home, probably worth $700,000. And if you go to rent that out, it's rented out all the time. They are making a killing on that property. They're doing so well, they built another house out there. Now, if somebody was talking to someone about building an Airbnb on Lake Wanahoo, most people would say, oh, you're crazy. You know, it's never going to work. They are proving that it works, and works extremely well, and it's great for family get-togethers or large teams and everything. And it's kind of in between Lincoln and Omaha, essentially, so it's convenient from that standpoint. But just a great property, and that's something that a lot of people would never do. I bought my first rental when my son was moving out to Fort Collins to go to graduate school. So we bought a townhome in a homeowners association. And one of my mentors here, who's been investing for 30 years, said, don't buy in an HOA, Mike, don't do it. I'm like, listen, my son is not going to take care of me outside. He's not going to mow, he's not going to remove snow, he's not going to do anything, he's going to be busy in school. And so out there, I mean, you rent by the room, and in Fort Collins, I get $850 a room for his roommates. And so essentially his tenants, his roommates, my tenants, are paying the mortgage and HOA fee on that property, and my son's living there for free. He's going to be there 5-6 years, and so I looked at it and I said, okay, well, I can throw $50,000 away in rent, or I can make an investment in real estate and have the other tenants start paying that down and see great appreciation.
Yep.
And I bought other properties here in Omaha, not in HOAs, just single family homes. And what I'm seeing for my return on money, and when I say return on money, is what did I invest personally out of pocket, and what return do I get on that? I'm seeing 22 to 25% return on my money.
Very nice. Can't do that right now.
Can't do that in the stock market. And it's consistent. And there are markets, people always say, well, gosh, I heard that the market's going to crash, prices are going to plummet. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Some parts of the country we're seeing prices depreciate. Yes, absolutely. Some of them are double digits, but it goes back to like 2008 and 9, in those markets that were going up 40% a year. Of course, they came back down hard. Omaha has never seen those kinds of gains. We saw bigger gains here in the last few years, but even now we're still seeing a 6% increase in prices year over year. So we're still seeing good gains. So you have those gains, plus then they're paying down your mortgage for you, and you're cash flowing very well. We have a different mindset than some people. We're a little bit older than Bree, or other people, and or other people. I won't go into John, but John's 49.
Yeah.
We look at it from the standpoint of taking all of our cash flow and paying those off, so that when we retire, it's just free cash flow that we're getting every month. And that's what we're looking at, is like, in 10 years when I retire, can I have $12,000 plus a month coming in that I'm not paying anything on, just free cash flow to live on and stuff, in addition to retirement accounts and things like that. So, John, let's talk briefly about your experience in investments and rental properties, and how you can help people based on your experience, and then also on the lending side.
But I've bought and flipped over 8 properties in the last 7 or 8 years, and from my plan was to buy houses under $60,000, and that panned out to be very well. It was a really good investment for me. I've been through the Section 8 process. I've had regular tenants. I've had a veteran tenant. And so what's cool about Section 8, it's based on what their income is, and then Section 8 has a chart of basically how much rent is based on how many bedrooms the home has. And if the tenant has 3 children, they're in a 4-bedroom house, that might be $1,600 a month in rent. The rent payment would be. So if you're buying maybe a $70,000 house that has a 4-bedroom, you're cash flowing pretty well. As far as flipping goes, so I look at how much money am I going to have to put in that house, and I leave myself about a 10% overage there, just in case I go over budget. And I know I'm going to have to pay taxes when I go to sell that.
Got to pay capital gains, yeah.
Got to pay capital gains, unless you do something called a 1031 exchange. So I've been through it, pretty much all of it, and I had a great mentor. He's the largest single-family home investor in Omaha, with over 200 properties in his portfolio, and he has been one of the greatest resources ever for me personally, and it's helped me gain more knowledge about the real estate market in general.
And again, this goes back to, you can do it a lot of different ways, in different price points and different areas and things like that. There's not just one way to make money in real estate. And again, 90% of millionaires own investment properties. So that tells you something. It tells you that it works. Bree, you talked about your personal home that you kept as a rental when you moved. Now you've got this second property you bought, and you're going to rent it out to traveling nurses. So how did you come up with that idea, and what did you look at when you were looking for a home, as far as location and amenities, and how did you factor all those things in?
So I actually was a travel nurse recruiter before I did the marketing gig for real estate agents.
Okay.
So I had knowledge of that just through working at the staffing firm that I was at. And then, I don't know, with being a realtor, and this is why you work with a realtor and you say, like, I'm looking for investment properties. Somebody came to me and was like, hey, I would like to sell my house. Can you help me out? So I went over and I took a look at it, and I liked the location. It's near hospitals. The property is in Benson, so a lot of cool stuff around there for entertainment and everything. The street looked really clean. All the houses looked really upkept. So I was like, I really like this house. Like, maybe I want to buy it. So, I talked to him about, like, if we could work on this together, I would really appreciate, I would appreciate it, and I would love to buy this home from you. And he was on board with it. And so, just sometimes things kind of fall into your lap, somebody, and it just works out for you. And
As far as the travel nurses, finding them, is there like a website or something that people go to?
Yes, and actually, Jill on our team she has a travel nurse rental like one street over. So I got talking to her about it. She told me that she puts hers on furnishedfinders.com. Okay. And on there you can see like how far away the houses are from the hospitals in the area.
Cool.
So yeah, it's really cool to see, because I do know that like some nurses, they're on call and they can't be so far from the hospital. They have to make it to the hospital in a certain amount of time.
Yep.
So there's things like that you have to keep into consideration when finding rentals like
Well,
that.
and also just from a convenience standpoint for them, can they get around easily? Can they, whether they're, let's say, over by UNMC, and can they just walk over to Blackstone? Can they walk to work? Is it convenient? Or is it 25 minutes away and there's nothing around that they want to do, or just hang out and enjoy themselves in their off time? So
right. And a lot of nurses, they work 3/12. So what do they do with the other 4 days? They want to be in a nice, cool area.
Right.
So
right. So it comes down to location and what you're trying to accomplish with a investment property. And there's tons of options, and I see homes every single week that are coming up that are great investment opportunities. And so people talk about the shortage of inventory in the market right now, but even with the shortage of inventory, there are exceptional opportunities for rentals and the flip properties and things like that. So if you want to have this discussion and look at investing, we'll be having an investor seminar coming up. And we'll get that out on social media and everywhere else to kind of dig in really deep and look at all the numbers and real life examples. But in the meantime, you can always stop by bree.themetropros.com. That's bree.themetropros.com. That's Bree's website. You can check out her information, learn a little bit more about her. You can reach out to her, ask her questions. Through that website, you can get in touch with John as well, talk about financing options and how to do that, and we'll help you all along the way. And really, it's analyzing the numbers and making sure you're comfortable with the numbers, and then making sure you get in a good tenant who's going to take care of your property and not have a bunch of turnover every few months. I mean, my daughter, when she moved out of town, she decided to lease her house out, and she got a PhD student at UNMC to sign a 2.5-year lease.
Perfect.
Now she wants to sign another 1.5-year lease, which is fine with my daughter. So that'll be a 4-year lease with a single woman PhD student at UNMC. Well, if you're in a PhD program, you don't have a whole lot of time to party and trash houses. So, you're going to take care of things, and she's a great tenant for my daughter. But lots of opportunities. Stop by bree.themetropros.com. Check it out. We appreciate you listening to the podcast. Hope to get some ideas from you as well on what you want to have us talk about and cover. We'd love to hear that. And we'll get the next podcast going and see you all next week.